Good evening. You're watching the News at 6 with me, Ishan Russell. The News at 6 is about the day's biggest developing stories, and we'll be filling you in on them over the next half hour. But first, the headlines we're tracking right now. Karnataka government bows to opposition pressure, concedes CBI probe into death of IAS officer D.K. Ravikumar. India and China start 18th round of border talks in Delhi. Both sides will focus on clarifying the line of actual control. Union Home Minister Rajnath Singh addresses annual conference of the State Minorities Commissions, calls for a debate on conversions. World leaders mourn the passing away of Lee Kuan Yew, the man who presided over Singapore's transformation from chaos to prosperity. Well, a top story this evening, bound down to pressure from the opposition, Karnataka Chief Minister K. Siddaramaiah ordered a CBI probe into the death of the Indian Administrative Service officer D.K. Ravikumar. Ravi was posted as a joint commissioner in the Commercial Tax Department and was found hanging from a ceiling fan in his Bengaluru apartment by his wife on the 16th of March. Police suspected to be a case of suicide, although no note was found from around the officer's body.
Bowing to pressure from the public and the opposition, the Siddaramaiah government finally conceded a CBI probe into the mysterious death of IAS officer D.K. Ravi. The Chief Minister told the Assembly that his government never intended to hush up the case.
ನಾವು ಅವರಿಂದ ತನಿಖೆ ಮಾಡಿಸಲ್ಲ, ಬೇರೆ ತನಿಖಾ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯಿಂದ ತನಿಖೆ ಮಾಡಿಸ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಪೊಲೀಸ್ನವರ
The CBI probe comes after the Congress Central Leadership's intervention in the face of an opposition firestorm targeting the Chief Minister.
In any case, preliminary investigation has to be done by the state police, and only if they feel that there is a need for a CBI investigation inquiry, then only the case is transferred. But at the same time, because the family feels that the case should be transferred to CBI, therefore we are asking the state government to send it to CBI.
IAS officer Ravi was found hanging from a ceiling fan at his flat on last Monday. The government handed over the case to the CID, even as it maintained that it was a prima facie a case of suicide. Opposition questioned the government as to why it was jumping the gun.
This is not the satisfaction or happy thing for any opposition or any persons. We fought against this government, the way in which they behaved after the Ravi's death. We fought only to get proper investigation. What is the real truth? People wanted that.
Today we gather the information that the Karnataka government is going to hand over this case to the CBI. This is what had been the demand of the Bharatiya Janata Party Karnataka unit right from the very beginning. And today finally the state government is conceding to this demand.
At a special hearing on Sunday, the Karnataka High Court restrained the state government from publishing an interim CID report into the unnatural death of Ravi. Ravi made a mark as a bold officer and taken on the sand and land mafia besides crackdown on tax evaders. Suspecting foul play, his family demanded an inquiry by the central agency. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Pakistan and India are back to sparring over Kashmiri separatist leaders meeting Pak High Commissioner Abdul Basit. While Basit claims the Indian government has no problem with him inviting Hurriyat leaders, the Indian government remains firm that it won't entertain any third party into issues relating to India-Pak relations.
Hours after a meeting between Pakistan High Commissioner Abdul Basit and separatist Hurriyat leaders in Delhi, the Indian government reiterated its stand that there is no place for a third party in Indo-Pak ties. Syed Akbaruddin, the spokesperson with the Ministry of External Affairs, told the media there is no scope for misunderstanding India's position on the role of Hurriyat Conference.
Let me reiterate, there are only two parties and there is no place for a third party in resolution of India-Pakistan issues.
Akbaruddin's statement was a response to Pakistan High Commissioner Abdul Basit, who said early on Monday that India wasn't against him inviting the Kashmiri separatist leaders.
No, I don't think Indian government is objecting. I would rather suggest to my media friends not to make an issue out of a non-issue. We're looking forward to more meetings between our two countries, and because the objective is to achieve peace between our two countries, resolve our problems, and one hopes that both the countries will now move forward. The time has come to resolve our problems and issues.
Separatist leaders too justified their meeting with the Pak High Commissioner.
I believe that the mindset has to change, that you have to understand the fact that Hurriyat or the people of Kashmir we're not hindering anything. We want to cooperate, we want to strengthen the process, and you have to give an opportunity to that. I mean, the whole idea behind meeting people, whether from Delhi or Islamabad, is to re-engage, is to start talking.
The meeting also evoked criticism and protests in some parts of the country.
प्रधानमंत्री जी ने, डिफेंस मिनिस्टर हो, विदेश मंत्री हो, सभी ने दिल्ली में जो पाकिस्तान के हाई कमिश्नर है उनको बुला के बहुत स्टूडेंट एक्शन लेने की बात करनी चाहिए. ये तो हमारे देश के खिलाफ एक साजिश होती है. फिर
It is Pakistan Day or any other day, Pakistan is hell bent upon using terror, terrorists and separatists as an instrument of state policy against India.
Last year, similar talks between Basit and Hurriyat leaders prompted India to call off Foreign Secretary level talks with Pakistan. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Mufti Mohammad Saeed on Monday said that his government will initiate the process of scrapping the Armed Forces Special Powers Act from the state. Although he insisted that the government will not jump the gun and call for revoking AFSPA in one go, instead push for a phased and gradual revocation of the Armed Forces Special Powers Act after taking the army on board. Now, the remarks come 2 days after the twin terror attacks in Jammu and Kashmir that killed 3 security personnel. Mufti Saeed blamed the attacks on non-state actors and said if Pakistan wanted peace with India, they must rein in the extremists. The Chief Minister said that he held the belief that all issues could only be solved with talks and not with bullets.
मैं ये कह रहा हूं, उनके भी कुछ खदशात हैं आर्मी के, तो मैं ये कहता हूं मैं एकदम जंप नहीं करूंगा. आई विल नॉट जंप. विल सी जिस हद तक हम सोच समझ के कुछ रास्ता निकालेंगे, कुछ एरियाज को डिनोटिफाइड करेंगे, और बाय ग्रेजुअल प्रोसेस. आई कांट डू इट इन वन गो, बट आई विल डू इट. आई विल डू इट. उनको कंसल्टेशन take them on board.
Now, India and China today held the 18th round of talks to resolve the long-standing border dispute. National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, who is also the special representative on the boundary question, held talks with his Chinese counterpart Yang Jiechi in New Delhi. The two-day dialogue aims to fix the dispute over the 3,500-kilometer borderline that's not clearly demarcated. It also holds significance as it's the first since Prime Minister Modi came to power in May last year. The fresh round of talks comes just days ahead of Modi's first visit to China. Last month, External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj visited China to prepare for the Prime Minister's visit and spoke about the need for an out-of-the-box solution on the border issue. She said it cannot be left for future generations. Moving on, Home Minister Rajnath Singh today assured protection to minority communities and said that his government will go to any extent to safeguard them. The assurance comes after a weekend that saw churches vandalized in Mumbai and Jabalpur. The Home Minister asked for a frank and open debate on issues of Ghar Wapsi and religious conversions. Singh also requested state governments to take the strongest possible action to protect minorities. Rajnath Singh was delivering the inaugural address at the annual conference of chairpersons of the State Minorities Commission.
मैं यह मानता हूं कि थोड़ी बहुत भी जो सेंस ऑफ इनसिक्योरिटी कांग्रेस की हुकूमत में जो माइनॉरिटीज के मन के अंदर रही है, उस सेंस ऑफ इनसिक्योरिटी को समाप्त करके सेंस ऑफ सिक्योरिटी यदि डेवलप कोई गवर्नमेंट यदि कर सकती है तो एनडीए गवर्नमेंट कर सकती है, लेड बाई श्री नरेंद्र मोदी. धर्मांतरण के मुद्दे पर जरूर मैंने कहा कि कभी घर वापसी, कभी धर्मांतरण, यह सब सारे जो सवाल खड़े किए जाते हैं, अब इसके बारे में लोगों को विचार करना चाहिए कि क्या बिना धर्मांतरण के लोगों की सेवा नहीं की जा सकती.
Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi today paid tributes to freedom fighters Bhagat Singh, Rajguru and Sukhdev. in the Firozpur district of Punjab. Addressing a gathering, the Prime Minister said Punjab has sacrificed many children for the country's freedom struggle, and even today the sons of Punjab are sacrificing their lives at the borders. In his speech, the Prime Minister also touched upon the contentious land bill, appealing to farmers not to be swayed by rumours. Modi said the progress of the country depends on the country's farmers.
अभी ओले गिरे, मैं जानता हूं किसानों पर कितनी बड़ी आपत्ति आई है। मैंने भारत सरकार के अधिकारियों को, मंत्रियों को आदेश किए हैं, सर्वे का काम शुरू हुआ है। राज्य सरकार, भारत सरकार मिलकर के आपके इस संकट की घड़ी में आपके साथ है। आपको जो नुकसान हुआ है, हमारा किसान टिक सके, जितनी भी मदद सरकार कर सकती है, उसमें सरकार किसी भी हालत में पीछे नहीं रहेगी।
We'll slip into a quick break right now, but there's lots more coming up on the other side to do. Stay tuned.
India's star shining in global affairs.
The professional army of any country does not have faith, piety and jihad in the name of God.
From regional power to assertive global leader.
Sri Lanka denies that these violations took place.
We want India to be a superpower. We have been doing everything for decades and we have been giving to India everything best we have.
Experts debate the nation's foreign policy.
We should not have any political preference of ours so far as Nepal is concerned.
Taliban were the creatures of Pakistan. Whatever people may say, they were created by Pakistan.
India's World with Bharat Bhushan on Rajya Sabha Television.
क्या हम दूसरों के जीवन को नियंत्रित करने की प्रवृत्ति के शिकार हो रहे हैं? एक जो लाइन ड्रॉ किया जा रहा है वो क्लैश करती है इंडिविजुअल के लिबर्टीज के साथ, वो क्लैश करती है फ्रीडम ऑफ डिसेंट के साथ, वो क्लैश करती है फ्रीडम ऑफ एक्सप्रेशन एंड स्पीच के साथ।
मुझे लगता है कि आपको समाज की तासीर और उसके कालखंड को भी समझना पड़ेगा कि किस कालखंड में हम जी रहे हैं।
आप अर्थ के स्तर पर, विकास के स्तर पर वो सारी चीजें चाहते हैं, लेकिन संस्कृति के सवाल पर आप 3000-4000 पीछे जाना चाहते हैं।
एक व्यवस्था से देश चलती है, एक व्यवस्था से अंतर्राष्ट्रीय समाज चलती है, अराजकता से नहीं चलती।
तो ये तो बात शुरू से जाहिर है कि एब्सोल्यूट फ्रीडम ऑफ स्पीच एंड एक्सप्रेशन कभी सरकार ने देश में दी है।
देखिए सरोकार सिर्फ राज्यसभा टेलीविजन पर।
कला की दुनिया हो या साहित्य का संगम, पर्दे के सितारे हो या संगीत की सरगम, हम हैं सबके साथ हरदम। देखिए शख्सियत, गुफ्तगू और विरासत का इंद्रधनुषी संसार। देखिए सिर्फ राज्यसभा टीवी के पर्दे पर बार बार।
खबरों का संसार।
भारतीय समाज के ऊपर टेलीविजन का असर बढ़ गया काफी। मीडिया पावरफुल है।
गायब है सरोकार।
10-10, 12-12 चैनल बड़े बड़े घरानों ने खरीदे हैं। प्रिंट मीडिया की एक सीमाएं हैं।
बाजार की मार।
टेलीविजन सेलिब्रिटी का निर्माण।
मीडिया कितना जिम्मेदार?
सब चीज बॉटम लाइन पे आ गई है कि उस पर इतना खर्चा होगा, उससे कुछ मिलता है कि नहीं मिलता।
देखिए मीडिया मंथन शनिवार दोपहर 12 बजे, शाम 7:30 बजे और रविवार शाम 4 बजे।
Welcome back. You're watching the news at 6. Some international news now. The former Prime Minister of Singapore, Lee Kuan Yew, died early morning today. He was 91. The city-state's founding Prime Minister, who ruled with an iron grip for 31 years, was widely respected as the architect of Singapore's prosperity. Lee is credited with transforming Singapore from a small port city to a wealthy global hub.
The founding father of Singapore, Lee Kuan Yew, passed away at a Singapore hospital early morning on Monday. 91-year-old Yew had been in hospital for several weeks with severe pneumonia. Singapore has declared 7 days of national mourning and will hold a state funeral for Lee on March 29th.
The first of our founding fathers is no more. He inspired us, gave us courage, kept us together, and brought us here. He fought for our independence, built a nation where there was none, and made us proud to be Singaporeans. We won't see another man like him.
Lee oversaw Singapore's independence from Britain and separation from Malaysia. A Cambridge-educated lawyer, Lee led Singapore through merger with and then separation from Malaysia, something that he described as a moment of anguish.
The whole of my adult life, I have believed in Malaysian merger and the unity of these two territories. You know, as a people connected by geography, economics, and ties of kinship.
Credited with transforming Singapore from a small port city to the wealthy global hub it is today, Lee was also criticized for his iron grip on power. Lee tightly restricted freedom of speech, and under him, political opponents were targeted by the courts. Dissent and political opponents were ruthlessly quashed. Even today, Lee's People's Action Party remains firmly in control. Other measures such as corporal punishment, a ban on chewing gum, and the government's foray into matchmaking for Singapore's brightest to create smarter babies led to perceptions of excessive state interference. World leaders have mourned Lee's death and offered condolence to the people of Singapore. Singapore President Tony Tan has written an open letter of condolence in which he describes Lee as the architect of Singapore. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And condolences and tributes poured in from around the world for Lee. Let's listen in.
Well, he was a great friend of India, particularly since the launching of liberalization experiment in our country in 1991.
Tentu pemerintah dan saya pribadi menyampaikan bela sungkawa mendalam atas berpulangnya almarhum Bapak Lee Kuan Yew. Beliau di samping Bapak Singapura.
The Philippines joins the Singaporean people in mourning the passing of their first Prime Minister and Minister mentor, Lee Kuan Yew. Mr. Lee was a visionary statesman who built Singapore into an economic powerhouse and modern society that has been a positive force not only in the region but also in the world.
シンガポール建国の父であり、今日のシンガポールの繁栄の礎を作ったアジアの偉大なリーダーだったと。
李光耀先生去世以后，习近平主席、李克强总理、张德江委员长、张高丽副总理已分别向陈庆炎总统。
Time for a very quick break right now, but coming up on the outside, all the sports action, we'll be telling you about Sania Mirza's latest sports ranking. She's ranked number 3 in the world in the doubles, so we'll be getting you all that and more on the other side.
With relations in a deep freeze, the Cuban vice president in India for a 3-day visit. Can we expect a thaw? Watch the big picture, 6:30 and 9:30 p.m. on Rajya Sabha television.
चूड़ियां रंग है सुहाग का, खुशी का, संपन्नता का।
तो चलिए हमारे साथ इस एक और सफर पर, जहां आपकी मुलाकात हम करवाएंगे बहुत ही बेहतरीन चूड़ियों के कारीगरों से।
पिसती है जिंदगी कांच में कारीगरों की, खूबसूरती में छिपी बदसूरती। देखिए अस्मिता में फिरोजाबाद से हमारी खास पेशकश, चूड़ियों के रंग फिरोजाबाद के, सिर्फ राज्य सभा टीवी पर।
Welcome back. You're watching the news at 6. Now on to France, where it was another big vote for the French far right as former President Nicolas Sarkozy emerged on the top in the first round of local elections. UMP's majority in these elections that are held in 2 rounds will be a much-needed boost to Sarkozy's political comeback bid. The far-right National Front Party came in second with 25%, while President François Hollande's socialists, beset by economic woes and record unemployment, came in third.
France's former president Nicolas Sarkozy's party UMP and its allies took first place in the first round of local elections. The results came after the party's win in the municipal and European elections last year. Conservative UMP secured 32% of the votes, edging out the far-right Nationalist Front that came second with 25%. President François Hollande's ruling Socialists came third with 22%. The results mean the second round on 29th of March will see a runoff between the UMP and the FN in many constituencies. UMP leader Sarkozy immediately ruled out any alliance with FN candidates in the next Sunday's second round.
À tous ceux qui ont fait le choix de voter pour le Front National, que nous entendons leur exaspération, mais que ce parti, qui a le même programme économique que l'extrême gauche, qui s'est félicité de l'élection du nouveau gouvernement grec d'extrême gauche.
The result is a setback for National Front leader Marine Le Pen, who hoped her resurgent anti-immigrant, anti-EU party would emerge on top in the first round. It would have made her a serious presidential contender for 2017. However, Le Pen called for Prime Minister Manuel Valls to resign, celebrating what she said was a massive vote for her party. Valls called on voters to ensure FN's defeat in the next Sunday's runoffs.
Le Front National réussit l'exploit de dépasser largement dans une élection locale son score des européennes. Ce vote massif pour le Front National, qui s'enracine élection après élection, montre que les Français veulent retrouver leur liberté et qu'un nombre considérable de nos compatriotes ont compris qu'une autre politique est possible.
J'appelle également tous les républicains à faire barrage à l'extrême droite au second tour. Tous les républicains, et je dis bien tous les républicains, font face ce soir à leurs responsabilités.
98 of France's 101 departments voted to select 4,108 representatives to serve 6-year terms on councils that are responsible for local transport and health and education spending. Interestingly, for the first time, voters are not choosing single candidates but pairs, a man and a woman, to enforce stricter gender equality in local politics. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, time now for all the other international updates in Global Buzz. The US spokesperson today said that the country will not take the floor at the UN Human Rights Forum on Monday. The UN is holding its annual debate on human rights violations committed in the Palestinian territories. Significantly, this comes a day after US President Barack Obama publicly expressed dissatisfaction over Israeli President Benjamin Netanyahu's post-election flip-flop on Palestinian statehood. US also said they are reassessing relations with Israel. Republican Senator Ted Cruz confirmed he's running for US presidency in 2016. Now, he's the first Republican to declare his campaign and is expected to brief his plans today. Several White House hopefuls are also expected to announce their bids for the presidency in the forthcoming weeks. The head of a UN Ebola mission said that the Ebola outbreak in West Africa will be over by August. It's been a year since the outbreak was officially declared. The virus has killed over 10,000 people so far. Maximum number of deaths occurred in Guinea, Liberia and Sierra Leone. Time for some sports now, and tennis star Sania Mirza became world number 3 in doubles ranking, her career's best so far. This following her stupendous title win at the PNB Paribas Open with Swiss great Martina Hingis. Sania is now at number 3 with 6,885 points behind Italians Roberta Vinci and Sara Errani, who shared the top spot with 7,640 points each. Sania expressed delight at her elevation and thanked fans for backing her. Well, that's all from us. Bye.